What's going on, YouTubers? This is the Brand Builder, aka Harry, aka Righteous, for people who know me for music stuff, and that's a whole nother conversation. Right now I'm here to talk about the season. 'Tis the season to be selling. So for all of you who do not know, the Christmas season is on its way, and e-commerce is doing very well. It's 2017. And the Christmas season is upon us. The month is now November. And behind me is my seller's closet of different items that I already have posted. And the closet, there's more spaces, a lot of items, even items on the ground. Let me show you guys what's going on here. So I just wanted to talk to you guys about maybe bring home two points. One of those points is that just give you another glimpse. One of those points is that the best investment that anyone can have at this very moment is the investment that you make into yourself, which is a business. And as far as business is concerned, it's not hard to start doing business. You can start with a small investment in working on businesses that you can manage personally. You don't have to do too much work. You don't have to go out and get an LLC. You don't have to go get an S Corp. You don't have to license all this other stuff. It's just simple, quote unquote, business practices that are very simple, very easy to do, right? E-commerce businesses have made it easier for us to do. So I'm going to talk about some really interesting things that people can do to make more money in the years to come. First of all, I'd like to say that e-commerce is disrupting the market, all right? Just as much as you have Walmarts and you have Targets and you have different companies and corporations, you're dealing with Amazon, which is a animal, and it's disrupting a lot of businesses and stuff like that, whatever. But you yourself can also be a part of that disruption. And what I mean by that is to say that you have the opportunity now to become some of these big distributors. There are people who have Amazon accounts, who have eBay accounts that are making much more money than they did at their jobs, right? So you got people who are now making six figures a year. And I'd like to encourage everyone that if you're not making six figures a year, that should be your most immediate goal right now to make more money in the future to come. I don't know whether people are paying attention to politics or not. I try to stay away from it because it's not as important to me as it may seem to other people. There's a lot of things going on, and I think that every person should do their due diligence to look into some of these opportunities that are laying in front of us and try not to be too distracted by other things. So what I'm saying is, 'tis the season to be selling. So as much as people think that stock market investments are good, I'd like to say yes, they are good. Continue investing in the stock market, but you're not going to grow fast enough to make a difference in your life if you're not coming from an already span of wealth where you can throw 20, 30 grand in the market in one day and sit back and watch your dividends pour in. Some people barely have $1,000 to put into the stock market. So I'm going to talk about some of the things that you may need to do. And by the way, my mentor started from very little. My mentor is now a multimillionaire, and we were on the phone having a few jokes and laughs about how he actually used to go to these upper middle class neighborhoods and take some of the trash and stuff that they left out and say, free, take it. And some of these items were items that were worth hundreds and sometimes even thousands of dollars. So he used to do the Craigslist thing, Amazon, and how he'd sell $11,000 to $12,000 worth of merchandise on eBay, all stuff that he got for free, okay, to the point where he was making about $300,000, $400,000 a year. And he was making six figures, ended up investing in real estate. He has real estate properties that he rents out to people, stocks, bonds, investments, stuff like that. Right now, he's making a few $1,000,000 a year. We were laughing about it. We were talking about how, you know, some of these people in these upper middle class neighborhoods would look down on him, and now he's far more successful than they are. Not that that's something that's funny, but it's something to make the average person think that in America, it doesn't matter where you're from or what you come from. Even though it might be true that if you were born into poverty, you're more likely to stay within that threshold no matter what, because kind of the odds are stacked against you. But there are some things that you can do to change that truth or to change that reality. And what you'd have to do is you'd have to abandon the mindset that something can't be done, right? You can't look at yourself as unlucky and say that, well, you know, I come from a poor family, I'm always going to be poor no matter what I do, because this is absolutely not true, right? You can go from poor to middle class, you can go from middle class to wealthy. It just really depends on your mindset, right? And the truth of the fact of the matter is a lot of people don't actually give you the answer, the ways to do this, right? And if they do, they usually offer you a course or charge you a lot of money to learn how to do these things. And then you have people like me who will just tell you the truth, and I don't really care about selling it to you at the moment because I just like to share knowledge. I like doing what I do, right? I don't have time to create a curriculum to show you this. And in the future, because I noticed that there's a huge disruption in the YouTube economy too, I'm going to be creating a Patreon account because I want to be open and honest with everybody, and I want to be truthful and honest, but I might need some encourage,ment, of course, and some support from my subscribers, because I really want to get into this. And I have a few house cleaning things I have to discuss after I finish talking about this, right? So let's discuss a few things here. Number one, there's always room for money making, right? And I know that some people, they'll look and be like, okay, if I buy a share of Procter & Gamble, I'll get this much money per quarter, which equals a few cents, right? So you're working, the average person working, if you're making under $20,000 a year, if you're making $20,000 a year, the stock market, you could spend your entire life working, you probably barely make $100 a month in dividends with what you can afford to invest, obviously. So your chances of investing enough money to retire off are slim to none. You absolutely don't have any chance whatsoever to make your wealth through stock investing, right? Middle class and above, yes, if you make about $40,000, not even if you make $30,000 a year, if you make $40,000 a year and you have the ability to invest, because here's the reality. If you can't invest at least $5,000 a year, it's not going to be life-changing. I mean, everybody should invest, number one, but if from a lower income perspective, the only thing you'll really be able to do is make sure that your children are in a good situation, because you pass along your wealth to your children. They'll do a lot better because it takes a long time. Someone who makes $20,000 a year, it's going to take at least 50 to 60 years to get them to a point where their portfolio can make enough to pay their bills, their rent, whatever the case may be. It would take about 50 to 60 years of moderate investing, such as something like $25 a week or so. It will take many years, and continuous compounding investment, and you'll sooner pay enough taxes and commission fees unless you like, for example, the fastest growing brokerage is Robinhood, for example. I love Robinhood, right? The easiest way for someone to get started in Robinhood is to go to the link below in my video and get yourself a free share of stock just by getting started. And you refer some friends too, because you can make up to $500 in stocks referring people, right? So you get a free stock just for going to my link, and you can refer other people and make up to $500. So then you have a surplus, right? You have a head start by $500, right? Now all you got to do is get your next 1,000 in by the end of the year. If you make low income, if you make more income, then even better for you. But you can comment below. I'd like to make some videos around stock trading. I just need my subscribers to tell me what you need. I'd love to talk about this. There's so much that we could talk about. I can talk about REITs. I can talk about ETFs. I can talk about ETFs with REITs. A lot of people don't know that dividends are only taxed at 15%. So let's talk about entrepreneurship, because this is the best thing. If you are living in a low income situation, your best investment ever is going to be entrepreneurship. Hands down, entrepreneurship is going to get you a lot further than stock investing, right? Because you're thinking it's entrepreneurship, you're creating a business, you're going to make a few extra $1,000 per year, right? So if you want to start with entrepreneurship, like let's suppose you were able to make yourself an extra $5,000 a year with entrepreneurship, and you wanted to invest half of it in stock market, which would be great, because now you got $2,500 that you can invest in the stock market, which can reduce your time of becoming wealthy. You can get to about $500,000 in 30 years or less than that, maybe 20 years or 15 years, depending on the situation and what stocks you pick. Because if you're really smart about it, sometimes it's not so much the dollar amount, but what you invest in versus how you're paid, right? I know people have talked about Coca-Cola and drip programs with Coca-Cola, but let's face it, Coca-Cola is about $45, $46, or sometimes even $47 a share. By the time that the dividends pay you enough to reinvest another share into that stock, it's going to take forever, right? So your best bet is to find some ETFs, index funds, or exchange traded funds that could pay you a monthly dividend. Anybody below $25,000 should only be investing mostly, in my opinion, and I'm not liable for any loss or gains that you have. It's just my perspective on the topic. You should be looking for monthly income, right, versus quarterly income, so that you can build your portfolio a lot faster in dividend investment. Don't swing trade, don't day trade, not until you get to about $25,000, $30,000. Don't listen to anyone. Okay, you're going to be seeing these advertisements. Become a better day trader. Don't be greedy. If you're new, take the time, learn the market. There's a lot you have to learn. Most of the things that you're going to learn about the stock market, you're not going to learn until you've been trading for a while, until you've been investing for a while. There's a lot of things you got to learn. You got to learn the dips, the increases. Stocks go up and down, up and down. You have to learn how to be a successful investor, and your lesson's going to come from experience. Okay, your teachers in your class are going to teach you one thing in life, and here's how you balance your checkbook, here's how you go in debt. And then there's reality, right? Reality being that the best way to learn something that you like is to get involved, is to do it. And then you learn, because sometimes you'll have losses, sometimes you'll have gains, but you can't be afraid. You have to teach yourself, and you have to sharpen your tools, right? I would always say that if you want to, read as many books as you can about entrepreneurship, business, stock market investing, as much as possible before you actually, start investing heavily. You want to start investing anyway. But you also, while you're investing, you also want to read and study, especially if it's not something you're used to. But entrepreneurship is the fastest and most and the best way to gain wealth, right? Because with entrepreneurship, you have the opportunity to gain more wealth a lot faster, right? So for example, if you're like me and you have an eBay business, or you have an Amazon business, or you're an author, a published author, and you're selling books, or you're doing life, or you're doing financial hacks, right? Risk-free money-making hacks, which I'm going to talk about also. Those are going to be the things that make you money faster, a lot quicker. And let me just do something. I'm going to pour the water out of this bottle because I was using it for something. I wasn't using this to drink out of. But I want to have a conversation about this. I'm often criticized when I talk about bottle returns by people who think their smugness and arrogance and poshness is somehow intimidating to me. And it's not, right? Because the low-key shots that they take, the one thing they don't understand is, it's like I said before, and I had a video on this topic, and they might want to get involved, okay? There's a lot of stocks, okay, where their payments are more equivocal to about a nickel a month, right? So if I have one share of Ford or one share of BCX or closed-end funds, index fund, whatever you want to call it, right? Shell Communications, 8 cents. It's a telecommunication company out of Canada. And then you have to pay a foreign tax of 1 cent, so you're talking 7 cents. So, but then you also get a 1 cent royalty as well. So let's talk about this bottle, right? Now, if I had 3 big bags, 3 trash bags worth of these bottles, that's someone's dividends after investing long term. The average person probably investing a majority of their middle class income, right? In the first place. But if I were to go around and collect $1,000 worth of this per year, I beat most people's retirement plan. See, people think it's funny when I talk about bottle returns. I'm one of the first people on YouTube to actually discuss this and discuss the opportunity for it, right? And in fact, I actually did my due diligence and research. This is big. People look at it as small because they want to be negative. But it's like the conversation I had with my mentor. When I spoke with my mentor, people criticized him too. Garbage picker, blah, blah, blah. He did this as well. Okay? And I'm telling you now, if you do the numbers do not lie. It doesn't cost you anything to pick up a bottle on a curb, on a street, or anywhere else. Or put some gloves on and go around picking them off the road or whatever. It doesn't cost you anything to grab this free money. It doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't cost you anything to go and scout for metal. I did it a few times. Go and get metal. I did it with a couple of people. I had a friend who had a van. We used to go and look for copper on the weekends. And we take it into the junkyards. And it'd be 150. He'd give me 75. He took 75. So, of course, yeah, when I do return my bottles, I do buy stock. And particularly because this is a Coca-Cola product and I do have Coca-Cola stock, I tend to put, even if I have a Pepsi can, I tend to put all that money into the stock market, into Coca-Cola, because that's the decision that I made. It's my favorite company to invest in, and that's the company that I want to invest in as far as that's concerned. So that's my thing. That's my trick. But as far as entrepreneurship is concerned, there are so many different ways to make money, and sometimes all you have to do is possibly think about it. And don't think that anything is too small. Not everybody's reality is the same. You might come from a different background than someone else, and there's really no need to think of yourself as less because you come from a different background than someone, right? You don't have to think that, oh, so I'm getting all this stuff and maybe I went to the Salvation Army or whatever and grabbed all these things to resell on eBay. and no one else is doing it, and all my friends have all this money and they're driving around in Audis. Me personally, I've said this before, I've said this on a Facebook post, I won't spend more than $60 on a winter jacket, okay? I won't spend more than $300 a year on clothes. But I will spend a majority of my disposable income on investments. I tend to be frugal like that. I don't have a lot of high maintenance clothes. Sometimes you'll see me in a t-shirt that I wore in a different video and you'll be like, how much did that t-shirt cost? This one right here cost me about $4. And I've had it for about 5 or 6 years. And I'll still wear the shirt, right? Because I don't believe in buying really expensive things. Sometimes you want to keep your costs low, right? Who's to say if I don't make $50,000, $60,000 a year, right? Who's to say my business doesn't make $20,000 or $30,000 a year? No one knows. But I'm not going to look like I make that kind of money. Who's to say how much money I make on YouTube or on eBay or on Amazon? Or how much my investments make, or how much my job pays me, or anything else, or any of the other streams of income that I have. And like I told people before, don't be shy as far as the opportunity to make money with vending machines either. This is something that I've actually played with a lot myself, including recently in my partnership acquisition of some vending endeavors, right? So that's a long story all within itself. But entrepreneurship will get you there faster. So learn how to create wealth on your own. Learn how to invest in wealth making habits. And make sure you follow me on Twitter too. So the faster you learn to invest, the better. Invest in yourself. The very first investment you should make is in yourself before you start investing in stocks or whatever. But if you're the type, you're a little too lazy to do stuff like this or to do the entrepreneur thing, then yeah, I would say that maybe you should invest in stocks and wait it out and take the time and possibly wait until it's almost time to retire. And let the stocks pay you the money and compound your interest over time. And maybe that's what you need. Maybe that's your goal. Maybe you don't want to be hands-on. I like to be hands-on because I like the opportunity to know that I have an ability to make an extra $10,000 to $20,000 a year, doing business that I can utilize. So like if I can put $10,000 in the stock market from my endeavors, from the businesses that I have, and I'm able to do that I can get to where I want to be faster than the average person who wants to do it the hard way and take their earnings. And believe you me, salaries and wages are taxed at a way higher percent. So I don't know why you would take 27 to 28 to maybe 30 to nearly almost sometimes in some cases 50% taxed income and then invest it just to earn extra 15% on your tax income when you can just do this and then reinvest it in that income, because this is taxed lower. A business. If you don't believe me, then read Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad, or I forgot what it's called, the Cash Flow Quadrant, which is a really great book. And I would recommend the Cash Flow Quadrant. Think about what assets and liabilities are, right? I've said this message before, but because it's the season to sell, right now is the easiest time. The moment you watch this video, you should already be looking into ways to make money. Okay, you should be out there. You should be resale arbitraging. You should be doing the arbitrage. You should be getting yourself all set up for business, right? So the faster you do this, the better. And I'm telling you right now that you want to get going as fast as you can. And I'm going to end this video because I have a lot more items to post. Right now today, you can post fixed priced items on eBay. It's free if you have a store or whatever the case may be, and I might be expanding my store a lot bigger so that I can meet the demands of some of my clients and customers. As we're speaking now, I'm actually getting sales. So have fun. Make sure you download the trading app so you can get commission-free trading. And we'll talk more about that. I'm going to be doing some book reviews and stock investing books and stuff like that. I might even read a little later more into my book. I'm trying to finish one of my books that I'm reading on stock investing. So I'll be doing a book review later. And thank you. I haven't done a video in some time, but thank you guys, and enjoy. Have fun. And happy selling. Hopefully this season will bring you much money. If you have any questions, comment below. Follow me on Twitter. Let's have some conversations, and let's do the work to make a better world so that we can get going. Hopefully everything works out for the better of everyone. If you have questions, let me know.